Welcome to the Traditional Way podcast brought to you by the Martial Arts Center Network. On this episode, we will be discussing the results from the Pan American Games, as well as breaking down a controversial fight from the World Championships and show what the World Championships did do to the end-of-year rankings. The Pan American Games is the largest multi-sport event in the Americas, with more than 8,000 athletes from 41 countries spread throughout 39 sports being held at the event. It is being held every 4 years. This year, Santiago, Chile was chosen as the event location, with multiple Olympians present to compete. With karate being in the games, the Americas brought their stars out, including the likes of Sakura Kokomai and Ariel Torres being present for the event. Starting off in the women's kumites divisions, in the minus 50 kilogram division, this year's grand winner, Yorgala Salazar, beats Canadian Yamina Lahansa by a score of 5-2 to take the gold. Chilean Valentina Tora Menezes routs Cuba's Torres Alverde 8-0 to take the gold in the minus 55 kilogram division. In the minus 61 kilogram division, Puerto Rican fighter Janessa Francesca Romero defeats Peruvian Alexandra Grande Risco to take gold. Barbara Rodriguez of Brazil wins 4-2 over Wendy Mosquera Riascos from Colombia in the minus 68 kilogram division. Also to note, American Skylar Lingold earns a bronze in that division. Lastly, in the over 68 kilogram divisions, Mexico's Guadalupe Quintal wins 2-1 over Valeria Echcover from Ecuador. As we move on to the men's kumite division, Chile's Enrique Villalon wins by 1 point over Cuban Brian Diazto to top the minus 60 kilogram division. In the minus 67 kilogram division, we saw Venezuela's Andres Madero Delgado narrowly win by decision over Thomas Fuentes of Chile. American Thomas Scott, coming off his 5th place at the World Championships, takes gold in the minus 75 kilogram division over Mexican Carlos Villarreal Avila. In the minus 84 kilogram division, Jose Acevedo of Ecuador squeaks out a victory over Colombian Ruben Henao to take gold. American Sai Sempon earns a bronze in the division. And in the final men's kumite division, Rodrigo Rojas of Chile defeats Brazilian Lucas Fernandez 2-1 in the over 84 kilogram division. As we move on to kata and the women's kata, America's Sakura Kokomai, coming off her 5th place at the World Championships, beats Colombia's Valentina Zapata in the gold medal match 41.1 to 39.4. What's interesting is Zapata's only transferred up to the veterans divisions in May of this year, where she took a bronze at the Continental Championships and earning a 7th in her first Series A event. Is this her first step in making her mark on the division? Currently ranked 62, she won't be eligible for the Premier League, but we could see her making a splash on Series A events in 2024. And lastly, men's kata. We saw World Championships bronze medalist Ariel Torres cruising his way to the gold medal by defeating Venezuelan Clevier Leocadio by 2.5 points in the final matchup. At the World Championships in Budapest, a fight occurred in the minus 55 kilogram division that has gotten a lot of attention. In one of the semifinal matches, world number 1 Angelika Toluga faced off against Yvette Goranova from Bulgaria. Now, I originally reported this as an upset, and I stand by that call. Yvette did win this match. However, it didn't happen the way I originally thought. This match would be decided by an arbitration that changed the entire outcome of the match. Now, this has received a lot of attention on social media, and it has opened up a discussion on if this match was handled fairly. Without going too much into it, I'm going to show you the match and break down exactly what happened. The fight starts out pretty interesting, with both fighters looking to engage. On the first exchange here, Ansley comes in for the reverse punch, goes for the hook kick, Yvette goes for the takedown, trying to score the ippon. Now, interestingly to note here, the judges did call the kick before the takedown attempt. Usually when a fighter goes to the ground afterwards, the kick doesn't score. However, this time they give Angelika the score, and they're going to give her the senchu for being the first person to score. Now, the Bulgarian coach takes offense. He's going to ask for a video review right here, which gets denied rather quickly. So it's interesting. Usually they take a minute or two to go through. However, this time it was denied immediately. I'm not sure exactly why that was. So as they engage again, Angelique is going to step in with her dominant lead hand Yuko, which she scores with at ease most of the time. Now, 2 of the judges do call this point. However, the center referee missed it. This is to go ahead with this new scoring system you've heard me talk about before. Not a fan of the electronic scoring, however, it's just the way it is. So Angelique does get the point here. She's up 4-0. Looks like she's going to cruise to an easy win here. So she's going to do what she always does. She's going to create distance. Well, not enough distance because Yvette just steps in with a reverse punch. Now, You see the score. The center referee is going to step away here for a second to the scoring table. I want to note that this is something that happened a lot in this match. I'm not sure who this center referee is or what he's doing, but he goes to the score table a lot in this match, and it's very noticeable. Either way, Yvette gets the Yuko for the reverse punch. The score is 4-1, and we're going to restart the match. Angelique is still trying to create that distance. She's not engaging. She's trying to set up that hook kick. Now, Yvette is pressing. She comes in with the Yuko and does not get the score. They separate and re-attack. So, somewhere in that, unfortunately, the angle you cannot see, a point was 3 judges did score Yvette's Yuko, making the score 4-2. Now they're going to restart here momentarily. Boom. Angelique steps in with a punch. No call. They're asked to separate. And engage again. Now Yvette's going to go on the offense here momentarily. She's really trying to figure out Angelique's defense and get through. Angelique throws a head kick. No call. Follow-up punch from Yvette does get the call, which is interesting. If you watch that kick, it looked like it hit the shoulder and she tried to bring it up to hit the head. However, on the initial attack, it did hit the shoulder, no call. Yvette gets the call here. It's 3-4. As they go to engage, Angelique again, she's just trying to take that distance and set up those head kicks. This is her patented move, what she's trying to do all the time when she has a lead. Yvette steps in with the punch, no call. Oh, sorry, does get the call here. It did look short to me. Angelique looks like she's in disbelief of the call. However, 2 judges did give her the Yuko. Score is now tied 4-4 with Angelique having the advantage of the Senshu. The punch over the top. Does get a call. 2 judges did give her the call. It looked like Angelique ducked out of that. However, it was close enough and with the halo rule that they're going to give the call. Now the score is 5-4. Now, keep note of this score because this is important. So they're going to continue to engage. Angelique is does not get the 2-point kick. They call for a stop before she could throw that hook kick. The score is not called. A video review for Angelique is from her coach because she wanted that Yuko call. However, they're going to do this real quick because they did yell break. I think they were trying to break for a penalty. They did break before the kick was thrown. Score is 5-4. They can come back in the fight. Again, they break up. Now, I didn't see this, but Angelique gets a penalty here for holding, and they're going to continue. Now, if you look at the clock real quick, you're going to notice something. The clock's not moving. That's going to be an interesting part in what happens in this fight. So they continue to move. Angelique is down. She's trying to regain the lead here. Yvette steps over with a punch. Kick underneath, no call. They continue. Now Angelique steps in with the double punch and no call on that. It did look like the second punch might have gotten there. However, there is no call. Yvette gets 1 penalty for stepping out of bounds. Now they're noticing that there might be an issue with the scoring clock, and they still just saying the penalty. And now you see the clock's going to adjust and they're going to regain the fight. Still 5-4. You see Angelique is starting to press here. She knows she's got to make the score. She steps in with the lead hand Yuko, one of her patented techniques. Does get the call, which is going to bring the score to 5-5. Yvette steps over with the punch. During the mix, she tries to take her down. It's not a good look here. There is some contact. There's some penalties that are going to be given here. The center referee makes sure Angelique is okay. Looks at her. Everything is good. Now he's going to issue a penalty here for contact, which is her second penalty.
the scoring table is gonna make a call on this soon. So she steps in overhand, no score. The center, now that there was no stoppage of that action. The scoring table saw something, calls the center referee over again for the third time in this match. Apparently, what they saw, he just takes away one penalty off the board. She's back to only one. They did not give her one for contact. Now the fight continues. It's 5-5. Angelique has the advantage. So exchanges, hook kick over the top. Angelique score, and she is ecstatic. She takes the lead here 8-5. Now, this match is going to get real interesting. So there's about a minute left on the clock here, and Angelica and Yvette both, I won't say both of them, they're going to go on the offense here, and it's going to be an amazing end of this match. So Yvette's trying for the takedown. That's her best way of scoring. Angelica scores with a defensive roundhouse kick to the face. It was quick, and as Yvette was stepping in, switching stances, Angelica kicks her in the face, gets the point. Now the score is 11-5. Now Angelica's starting to do what she does. She's spreading out. She's starting to take over this fight and run away with it. But Yvette is not going to give up. She's going to fight her butt off here. And right there, they pull down on the gi, takes her down, 3-point ippon. She gets right back in this match. The score is 11-6. I'm sorry, 11-8. This match will be 11-8. They stop the fight here for a penalty, where they're going to give pushing against Yvette. That's her second penalty of the fight. Now they re-engage. Nothing. Kick to the body doesn't count. They separate them again. Let them back to engage. Yvette does nothing here. The kick, they're going to score that kick. Now, that kick to me looked like it was blocked by Angelica. Angelica thinks it was blocked. She looked at her coach. However, that's huge, right? So she just gets 3 points. Now it's going to bring this fight to 11-11. However, the advantage being to Angelica because she has the Senshu. Now the score's tied up. With about 10 seconds left, they're going to re-engage. Angelica comes in, no score. They punch each other, nothing. They look at her again. Obviously, there was a little more contact there. However, there's going to be no penalty. They're just, yep, sorry, there is a penalty there. So they're going to be 3-1. Angelica comes around, kick behind. They did not break even though the action did stop. Angelica takes advantage and scores that kick. So with the final score of 14-1, or sorry, 14-11 here. Couple seconds left. She goes for the spin kick. It's denied. She's going to step in and punch. And Angelica is going to run away with this match 14-11. A great match with the win.
Wait, what? Didn't I say that Terluga lost this match? Yeah, she did. And here's what happened. This is where the arbitration comes into play. During the match, the clock stopped for roughly 10 seconds. Once it was noticed, the time was adjusted and the match finished out. Following the match, the Bulgarian coach quickly protested, stating the clock jumped ahead 9 seconds during the match, which did not give Yvette the full time of the match she should have gotten. Here's the decision that WKF referees made that has come into scrutiny. They opted to restart the match from where the clock issue came into play, which was at the 1 minute and 17-second mark of the fight, which took 10 points off the board for Angelica and 6 points off the board for Yvette. More noticeably, it also took all the penalties against Yvette away as well. The match would start with a score of 5-4 in favor of Yvette, with Angelica having 1 penalty. Here's the end of the match from the restart.
As we restart now the game plan is gonna change for Yvette, right? So Yvette has the lead. She's gonna spread out and she's gonna try to protect that lead very much. And also, she has no penalties that will come into play here. So she's gonna they go to engage. She's just gonna step out, right? She has the lead. She can't get a passivity call against her. So she's just gonna step out. She's gonna take that penalty. That's the first one, because you remember they took all the penalties off the board for her. As they engage again, as Angelica tries to engage, Yvette's playing here like she's going to attack. She has no intentions of attacking here. She's just going to try to keep that distance and kicks. She's going to move out of the way. The punch was short, was not called. About 40 seconds left on the clock, and Yvette is just going to go. She comes in for the punch, thinks she saw an advantage, realizes that it wasn't there. They separate, no factor, right? Now this is where she's going to just, yep, you eat that clock. She's got the penalties to give. She's just going to step out of bounds. Anytime Angelique is going to get close to her, she's just going to step out and take the penalty. So that's her second penalty there. There's about 23 seconds left on the fight. Yvette comes in, tries to score, nothing, just going to step out again. So now this is her third penalty for stepping out of bounds. Again, Angelique is searching for it. She's trying. And on this one, she's kicking, saw an advantage. Yvette takes it, and they give her the point. They give her the punch. I thought it might have been short, but they do give it to her. The score is now 6-4. Again, Angelique is searching for it. She's trying to set up that head kick. She knows she needs 3 points. There's nothing here. Yvette's just going to move. She's going to move. You can see Angelique is trying for that kick no matter what, right? That's her patented kick. She's trying to hit it. It's just not happening. So Yvette here gets her fourth and final penalty before disqualification. And Angelique is just running on everything trying to get there. Unfortunately, doesn't happen. Yvette's celebrating, and you can tell by the reaction that Angelique is just besides herself. There's not much more to say. It says everything. She can't believe she lost this match, and Yvette goes on to celebrate.
Now, many people are going to have their opinion on how this played out, most likely more based on who they were cheering for. But for what it's worth, here's my take on how this match finished up. The first thing I noticed was the inexperience of the center referee. Throughout the match, he went to the scoring table for clarification or instruction several times. That would be fine if this wasn't the World Championships. At this level, that cannot happen. It was apparent that he really didn't have a good grasp on running the match as smoothly as it should have been run. Now, did that play a factor? One really can't tell. However, it was super noticeable, and it shouldn't have been. Second, I do feel the way the WKF handled this was not the right call. When you watch this video, you'll see that both fighters had the same opportunities to score during the fight before the restart. I can't see how anyone was cheated during regulation time. If they video replayed the error, they would see that the time, even though it was paused, was corrected. Sure, one can argue that it may have been 1 or 2 seconds off, but no one got an unfair advantage either way. Furthermore, to take penalties off the board changed the fight. As we saw with the lead, Yvette was able to run and step out of bounds. Yes, she was penalized for that action, but she had them to give. She used all 4 of her available penalties in that time, where 5 would have been a DQ. She was able to do that because she had a lead, right? The rules state that you cannot get a passivity penalty if you have a lead. So she was able to not engage and let the time run out, and ultimately go from a loss to the biggest win of her career, one that may have to come with an asterisk, unfortunately. Now, this fight will be discussed at length, I'm sure. But for me, it was a tough way to lose. Angelique has been so dominant this year, and she was looking for her first world title. And I believe this was probably the only way she was going to lose at this event. However, things happen. She did fight great at this event, and you can tell from her actions during this match, it was an emotional roller coaster for her, as I can assume it would be for any fighter. And it took a lot out of her. I have no doubt that she will continue her reign over this division, and hopefully this will fuel rather than deter her moving forward in 2024, where she looks to regain her grand winner status for I believe, the 3rd time in a row. The World Championships did have an impact on the rankings for the end of the year, with a couple divisions getting shook up a bit. This will set up what the seeds are going to be for the Premier League next year. So let's start looking at how it ended up. In the minus 50 kilogram division, not a whole lot of movement in this division. However, you do see Emma Scargelli breaking into the top 10. She has had she's come on strong in the last couple of events, and is starting to make a push and to be a mainstay in the division. In the minus 55 kilogram division, no one was going to bump out Anzelika from the top spot, but noticeably Yvette Goranova and Tuba Jankin's performances in Budapest bumped them up into the top 5, which will leave probably the most stacked women's Kumite division leading into the Premier League next year. In the minus 61 kilogram division, pretty much stands pat in the top 3, with Sahara Shimada dropping down to 5th after being left off from the individual divisions at the Worlds. Fatma Nazienin breaks into the top 10 following her finish in Budapest. The minus 68 kilogram division is the most unchanged division, with Irana and Elena holding the top 2 spots. Everyone else is competing for bronze in this division. Alazi Algier breaks into the top 10 after Budapest and will see an advantage of a seed in the Premier League for the first time next year. The over 68 kilogram division saw the 2 Japanese fighters switch positions due to only Sato being able to compete in Budapest. Cleo Ferracudis continues to climb the ladder, bumping up 2 spots to end her good year, and Canadian Lily Rose Nolette joins the top 8 in the division. Moving on to the men's in the minus 60 kilogram division, sees a new name in the number 1 spot. Xenos goes from 5th to 1st. This division has been up for grabs all year, with no one really stepping up to take over. Will Xenos be able to stay on top, or will this division continue to have a new number 1 after each event? Steven DaCosta regains the top spot in the minus 67 kilogram division. You also have Olga Lazarda and Shi moving into the seeded spots, as well as DeVivo breaking into the top 10. Very little change in the top 5 in the minus 75 kilogram division. We do see Harsh Pataki break into the top 10, and American Thomas Scott moves up into the seeded positions in the division. In the minus 84 kilogram division, there are no changes to whom are in the top 10, just movement in the positions. Following Budapest, Badawi moves into the top spot. Rounding out the fighting divisions, the over 84 kilogram divisions, Mahmoud takes a top spot, but more notably, Falali's gold medal bumps him up from 15th to 3rd. In the women's kata divisions, we see no change in the top 3, which just goes to show how great of a year Shimizu has had. No one could bump her out of 3rd, even with a 12-point multiplier from Worlds. We also see American Kokomai bump back into the 4th position, and D'Onofrio and Tele moving up into the top 10. Men's kata saw Quintero and Kazimoto switch spots, where Nishiyama and Torres stay where they were. Sofaglu moves from 8 to 4, which puts him in a better seeding spot for the Premier League than where he was, while Busato moves into the seeded positions. Interesting to note here that 4 of the top 10 didn't compete at Worlds, so they dropped in the standings, but not enough to take them out of the top 10. Now let's move on to the biggest story for me from World Championships and who is going to be the biggest mover in the rankings. Iran's Mahdi Kotabakshi takes a huge leap following his silver medal at Budapest. He jumps from number 100 to 16. Now, this is a difficult one because he doesn't seem to be out there competing very much, and when he does get out, he does very well, leading to believe that he could be one of the top fighters in the world in the minus 84 kilogram division. However, he isn't afforded the opportunity. Why? Well, unfortunately, the biggest issue he's facing is that he's from Iran, so he'll have a harder time getting a visa if he is granted one at all. It's an unfortunate situation because he's proven himself, and it would be great to see where he would end up if he was out there competing on a regular basis. But that brings you to the rankings and going forward, and we're excited to see what's going to happen in 2024. Thank you guys for watching another episode of The Traditional Way. We are available on Spotify for those listeners who would like to view this podcast on the go, as we continue to bring you the WKF results and news to the best of our ability. As always, please continue to support and watch the great shows on the Martial Arts Center Network. Until next time, guys.